Okay, so we've officially started. So again, those instructions are as you're arriving, or if you're watching this as a recording, to get settled into your space and build yourself a nest. So you can do this guided practice lying down or seated, but if you're going to be seated, I suggest you get some pillows, blankets, really let yourself get cozy. And also for those of you who are more inclined to write when things are moving and coming, you can also get paper and something to write with nearby if you feel like you might want that as well. I'm gonna just share a few thoughts, just setting up concept, context, setting the stage, if you will, setting some intentions into the container. And then we will do a guided practice. And these practices combine breath, combine body scan, combine working with sensing in and tuning into energy, and then also drawing in supportive energy. And it helps us to drop out of the external world and be held. And this ceremony tonight is really an invitation to see how deeply you can be held in the dark soil of your body. And hopefully, while in there, finding some stillness and some softness. With that being said, I want to speak a quick moment to the word darkness. This is a word I work with a lot and circle around in many ways. If you've done any of my courses before, especially the journey within, I really look at this word from so many angles. It gets used from so many angles. It can be seen as, the dark, something to fear, the difficult, but also the word darkness can be used as what I'm sort of setting up already here of this idea of the stillness, the unknown, the void, the cocoon, the mythic, the liminal. And so I want to bring in both of those realities because they're both true, and it's darkness can be this power portal as well as this place we go to when we've experienced pain points and life circumstances that we may be healing from. And this, just this reminder sort of over and over again of why we do these practices and why I approach them the way that I do, that when we make space and time to reflect, and that reflection may take us into potential shadow work, working with what has created harm so that we can better build capacity to hold life in all its forms and be able to reflect on grief with a sense of agency and reflect on loss, and harm also with with this sense of agency. And I think that doing this is how we find our power and we find more stable ground, especially during destabilizing times. If we're really willing to be able to hold ourselves in our own underground, with these things that we might not want to see, or the space holding for them brings up discomfort and contraction points. But if we do that, then we can more easily also be with this other kind of darkness, this other kind of void, this other kind of creation energy. Like being with both of those ways of looking at darkness shows us and teaches us how to be with the other, being with the unknown, being with stillness. I think this is something many of us could probably feel into in our culture, that being with stillness is difficult. It's not necessarily something we are taught to practice, or necessarily there's not always a lot of space made for us to practice that. And so I think when we move through shadow work, when we move through pain points, we help our nervous system learn how to regulate. And when we do that, it actually gives us more capacity to be with stillness and the void of the unknown that can move into creation. So if we can do that, if we can move through the pain points and then find stillness, we can actually create something new from a place of true root, true foundation, a place of repair, a place of being restored. And it's a process, and it takes time. And in a culture that doesn't like to give time to things, we want to get to the next thing. It can be hard for us to create a new habit around this idea. It's not one that gets shifted overnight, and it's okay because we've been so steeped in another rhythm. But if we ask ourselves to move into a new rhythm and we just keep practicing it over and over again in different ways, what we will keep anchoring in that possibility over and over again. And it does change and it does shift and it does show like, oh, yeah, oh, actually, my rhythm is different than 2 years ago. My rhythm is different than 4 years ago. Little bit by bit, I'm changing that rhythm. And in doing that, I think a lot of times we really have to practice that, learning how to be with discomfort. And it's not something that we are regularly provided practice with, given the sort of push for comfort and convenience at all costs. In each of us is that want for comfort and convenience. And at the root of that, I think, is a want for safety, which is just a human nervous system need. But if we can work with all these layers, I think we can better learn how to be with the struggles that come when life cycles feel darker or more unknown, or the times of destabilization feel overwhelming. There's a lot of input coming at us. Dogmas, agendas, social expectations, etc. So with all of that, I just want to invite us tonight to practice again, finding our center in all of it, and then practicing this idea of surrender to sitting with the dark, both the idea of the unknown and any potential pain points that may come up with stillness, so that we can better let life unfold even when the world doesn't feel safe, because life is still going to unfold and we have to be on that journey with it. And can we maintain a sense of our creator, our inner creator, our sense of centering and flow even in the destabilization, because that's what's going to bring a new stability in as we move through evolution. I think we're always moving through big cycles in the world, and I think we just have to remember again that we know how to do it. And we have to just stay on the unfolding path. And I think that doing it together is always really, really helpful, because we can't do this alone, and working with practices, embodiment practices with other people really just teaches us how to co-regulate and find grounding. And this is another way that we build and find passageways for new growth, and also ways to find safety in the discomfort, because we can honor together life cycles, love, grief, pain, all these ways in which we are human. In my view, and the way that I zoom out to the world, this time of exponential change that is happening, and that brings up so much for each of us. And so can we hold that together tonight? And I'd like to invite in doing that, to sit with both the dark and the light. And so can we hold space for both? Because in a way we have to. There's a lot of power, I believe, in ways that I still don't fully have words for yet, but it comes to me intuitively over and over again, that can be unleashed when these two forces of dark and light come to know each other instead of fight against each other. I believe that when we keep ourselves in polarities, separation is created in us. And when there is that state of separation, that I think is also even created in moments when we think we're standing for the good, there's actually a separation that can come because there's still a polarity that's being held in place that keeps us from bridging dark and light together. I think that separation can really keep us from embodying a bigger existence. And it can also keep us from embodying a remembrance that pain changes states when we give it the resources to do so, and that we can allow these forces to coexist. And there's a lot of power that can be found there, a lot of agency that can be found there. And so that's just an invitation I wanted to add to that. So we're going to honor all of this tonight. Honor the dark as a place that always lives within us in many ways, and a place within which we can actually find anchor, even if it feels scary or confusing. If we can't see what's ahead, or we don't understand why the wounds are what they are. From here, we're going to start our practice. So get cozy. If you are going to lay down, you can do that. Or at the very least, if you wanted to stay seated, really find a back to sit up against. And we'll get started. So you can close your eyes as you settle in. And as always, we're going to begin with the breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Letting it be this simple, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Letting yourself find a rhythm with this breath that feels good for you. Where in your body needs your breath right now? Where in your body needs your attention right now? Where is all the energy of sitting in different parts of you that wants a little life brought in? Don't be afraid to make some noise on those exhales. Don't be afraid to open and soften through the jaw. Opening through the skull and the neck as you breathe. We're going to start this journey with a body scan just to bring us into the present moment, bring us into our physical felt senses. Really also bring us into our hearts. Our hearts hold so much, and as everything I just spoke to sits with all of us and each of us in a unique way, it's sitting in our hearts. And so if we can take a nice deep breath into the heart center, into the lungs, the rib cage, the back of the shoulder blades. Also up into the upper chest, the higher heart energy center. This is our immune system. Our thymus gland sits here. Bringing some life into the immune system. Just bringing yourself home with each breath in. And then with each exhale, letting yourself drop down and into your presence, into your body, into your seat, into your floor, your chair, your bed. Letting yourself arrive home to you. And as you continue to arrive and come into your body, really observing temperature, textures, rhythms, feeling states, physical felt sensations, just being with what is, listening to it, seeing it as it is. And as you do this, you can begin to just take a moment to travel through the body. So we've started here with an awareness of the throat and the jaw, the skull, really breathing into the neck, into the collarbones and the arms, down the arms, down through into your elbows, down and into your wrists, lips, your hands, your fingers. Breathing in again through the heart center, the lungs, the ribs, the back of the shoulder blades. Arriving and breathing down into the solar plexus, the adrenal glands. Continuing to move down through your abdominal cavity, down even along your spine, down into the belly, into the low back, the sacrum. Arriving to yourself over and over again as you breathe, as you tune into you, moving down in through your root, your seat, your pelvic bowl, your sits bones, your hips, your hip joints. Taking a nice deep breath down into this place here, your center of gravity. Really letting those exhales move. Letting those exhales move energy by letting them fall out of your mouth. What can you loosen each time you exhale? Continuing to move down through the body, down in through the legs, into the knees. Moving down from the knees, down into the ankles. On your next inhale, taking a really nice deep breath in through your feet, through the bottoms of the soles of your feet, through the bones of your feet, through the toes. Taking a moment here to breathe in through the whole body. Letting yourself be aware of you all at once. Taking a few breath cycles with this. From your toes up to the top of your skull, back down to your toes, through to your fingers. Breathing in through the whole of you. And from here, from breathing in through your body, can you breathe out into your field, your energetic field? Into the front of you, just out past your skin, into the back of you, just out past your skin, to the left side, to the right side, just above you, and just below you. As you breathe, just noticing those inhales creating expansion through your whole body system, out through your field, and almost the sense of contraction as you exhale, but that contraction can actually lead you into a loosening and a deepening and a softening. In a way, letting the breath show you what expansion and contraction can do together, how they serve each other. Observing anything that's coming up right now as you arrive. Really letting yourself enter your internal waters through your body, through your physical felt sense of your energetics. And from here, from this place, hopefully being a little more arrived, a little more present to you, we're going to move through a journey to connect to stillness. And we'll set an intention and an invitation to invite in this sense of the word void, the word darkness, this sense of non-doing, that creation energy, that which creates before something comes into form. This void, in a sense, that is where we come from and where we return to. It's really the constant in life, and life after life, life before life, life that's bigger than the human sense of life, that's bigger than this body, that's bigger than this lifetime. We're going to call upon that so that we can call upon it to support us in any weariness we may be holding, and recognize it as a potential antidote to the external world of activity, expectation, doing. Really taking a nice deep breath into these words, letting them wash through you. We don't have to do anything with this invitation or intention, but just let it sit in your body. Let it sit in your field. Let it show itself to you from another place deeper from within you. So in a sense, you're going to allow yourself to build a bridge between your cognitive world, your cognitive idea of this, into a sense of the energetic of it, into the liminal itself, into the in-between, into that place that carries wisdom that is bigger than the mind's understanding of this. See if you can let the breath help you. Staying with that breath over and over, in through the nose. Exhaling out through the mouth, letting the exhale create movement. That movement is your pathway towards dropping in. Dropping in a little deeper with each cycle of breath. Moving into a space just past the mind. Moving in deeper into sensation. And moving into that dark unknown that we're inviting forward. That void that connects us to other levels of reality, both elemental and cosmic. And as you breathe, see how you can just let this appear to you. If sensations are coming forward, be with those sensations. If knowings, images, any kind of deep sense of what this idea presents itself as to you, let it appear to you. Staying with that breath. Seeing if, as you let yourself drop into this a little deeper with each inhale and each exhale, you can also allow this sense this sense of entering stillness, this sense of entering void, dark, cocoon, seeing if that can help you to clear away distortions. Any distortions, any energies that feel like a sort of a density or a sense of a contraction point, anything that might keep us from surrendering to stillness. So just if you need to in this moment, maybe even taking a pause to just check in with your nervous system, really observing sensation. How can you let your breath support you? And dropping in just a little deeper into your inner waters. Maybe if you need to find a sense of the floor beneath you, the chair, the bed, whatever you're sitting on or laying down on is really holding you, that might help. And really letting yourself be held in this container. You're held inherently, even when it feels hard to trust that we're held in moments of feeling destabilized. But just right now, just for this moment, letting this dark hold you and clear out anything that is ready and wanting to clear out so that you can drop just a little deeper into this moment of stillness. Almost as if you could let yourself be suspended in this feeling of inviting in the darkness. Like a swim at nighttime, there are no lights. You enter the water. Water inherently helps us remember our weightlessness. It inherently can help us soften. And if there are any particular themes or questions that you have right now that you're holding on to, that are here, that are present with you, that feel like something that you're working through, but it feels unknown to you. Maybe there's questions that you don't have answers to yet. Can you just give yourself this moment to let the questions be there? Find yourself in a space of having no answer and not needing any action right now. That you don't need an answer in this moment. And we're going to take like a couple minutes, 4 minutes maybe, where we're going to just sit in the quiet of this liminal invitation. So you can just let yourself enter this landscape in the quiet, staying with your breath. And as you do this, if it's helpful, I can invite you to place your hands anywhere on your body that may need support, grounding, movement of contracted energy, just by placing your hands there with support. And those of you who work with energy healing practices, you can also bring those in. And I'm just going to give us a moment in the quiet, in the stillness, to drop down a little deeper. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth, just really giving honor to this stillness that you've been sitting in for the last few minutes. Really holding it close in you, the possibility of it to return to, that it's always here with you. And as we do that, we're going to, from the foundation of this stillness, of being in the dark waters, from that place, that which is before we create, from here, we're going to call back in the light, call back in the sun, bringing in the light of the grand central sun, warming through the places in you that have frozen in response to life, the places in you that may have been overwhelmed from life, the places that needed to contract in order to survive, in order to get through. And just call back in warmth, like a salve through the system. I really encourage you to let this appear to you how it wants to for you. I think that when we can tune in uniquely to how it works for us, it's more powerful. Of course, you can always imagine, if it's helpful, the light of the sun and the light of life force coming in down through the body, through the crown, and filling up through the body. That's one way of accessing it, but see if you can find what uniquely wants to happen for you as you invite in the sun, as you invite in warmth, as you invite in life force to come and fill the places in you that need tending, that need resource, that need restoration and repair. Places in your body, places in your soul, places in your mind, your emotional states. Let this come forward to you. How do you feel into the sun, life force, warmth? You can call it in through your breath, calling it in on your next inhale, receiving it as you inhale, exhaling to drop down into it. So you're receiving and absorbing over and over with the breath. Letting these words activate that for you, invite it in for you, and then you are the one who brings that to life in you by receiving it and by absorbing it. Observing where it travels to as you call it in. Are there places in your body that are really absorbing that, or really recognizing its need for it? Are there places in your feeling states, your emotional states, your soul awarenesses that are really, really wanting to receive the light, absorb the light, and restore inside of the light. The sun coming, a little more light coming forward each day from now on, honoring that light is coming in. I'm just going to take one more minute with this, just letting yourself be in this sense, staying with your breath, inviting this in. Letting that dark stillness void meet the light of restoration, coming together in you, creating a bridge, healing places of separation and or polarity and or inner duality, conflict, just letting them weave together as you call the light in. Letting those exhales be your friend over and over again. Letting those inhales be your friend as it brings in that light. Ooh. Keep energy moving through your breath. I invite you to stay with this if you're able to, or as long as you have to do that, and let yourself be in process with it. Let yourself really hold yourself in it and give yourself some more time if you can, if you want, if you need to. That's one option. Another option is if you are ready to come out of this moment, then you can slowly start to come back to the external world, come back into the whole of the room that you're in. And move back into your awareness of you and your external landscape, and bring this guided practice to an end.